that it is not the time that you miss salah. Why? Because this is at the end of the day. You're wrapping up the business deals, right? Maybe your projection for the day, maybe you gone to your shop, you sell something, you have a grocery shop or whatever shop, you projected that today I need to make maybe $1,000 to meet some demands. And then it's almost after that you are even yet to hit $500. You go crazy. That's natural for a human being. But then the Almighty Allah puts this salah here at this specific time so that you understand the importance of the remembrance of the Almighty Allah. Time is the most common gift that the Almighty Allah has given all of us. All of us have 24 hours a day. All of us. All of us are different shapes, different heights, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different religions, different thoughts, different political persuasions. But all of us have exact number of time in the day, which is what? Which is 24 hours. Whatever you become or whatever you do depends on how you use the time. That is why in a lot of surah, the Almighty Allah swears with time. For example, if you go to Surah Al-Isra, the Almighty Allah says, وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ آيَتَيْنِ
وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ آيَتَيْنِ
نعم.
فَمَحَوْنَا آيَةَ اللَّيْلِ وَجَعَلْنَا آيَةَ النَّهَارِ مُبْصِرَةً لِتَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِّن رَّبِّكُمْ وَلِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابَ
نعم.
وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ فَصَّلْنَاهُ تَفْصِيلًا.
The Almighty Allah said, وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ آيَتَيْنِ. You see, the night and the day, they are signs from the Almighty Allah. فَمَحَوْنَا آيَةَ اللَّيْلِ وَجَعَلْنَا آيَةَ النَّهَارِ مُبْصِرًا. The Almighty Allah has wiped the light of night, the sign of the night, but then He's made the sign of the day visible. Why? لِتَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. So that we will seek from the bounties of the Almighty Allah. وَلِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ. The alternation of the day and the night. وعليكم السلام. يا إدريس بالله عليك. بالله عليك إدريس. هذا ما ينبغي. بالله عليك إدريس. هذا ما ينبغي. بالله عليك. بالله عليك. وَلِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ. The alternation of the day and the night is the way the Almighty Allah has given us for us to count time. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ فَصَّلْنَاهُ تَفْصِيلًا. And everything the Almighty Allah has explained it to us. So time is a very, very important aspect of our lives. When you go to Surah Al-Furqan, the Almighty Allah says, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ.
وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا.
It is the Almighty Allah who has given us the day and the night in succession so that some people will remember the Almighty Allah and some people will be grateful to the Almighty Allah. These verses are only telling us that whatever we do in this dunya, whatever path we take, it all depends on how we use time. The millionaire and the beggar all have 24 hours a day. The hafiz of the Quran and the guy who is not hafiz of the Quran all have 24 hours a day. The guy who wakes up at night and then he has 12 rakats, 15 rakats, 20 rakats at night, and someone who barely has time to have one rakat, all have 24 hours a day. The guy who goes out there to hustle, to get money, to feed himself, feed his family, pay his rent and pay his bills, and the guy who chooses to do other things also, they all have 24 hours a day. Your children that you send them to school to go and learn, and one of them is excelling in his studies and the other is always behind, they both have 24 hours a day. All of us have 24 hours a day. And the Almighty Allah made it very clear, لِتَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. So that you seek from the bounties of the Almighty Allah. وَلِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ. That will also be a way for you to count time. Time cannot be stopped. but then you can control the usage of time. Time has no respect for anybody. It's 5:23. It's going to be 5:24 soon, and none of us can stop that. But then we can control how we use time. Every day is an opportunity for us to get closer to the Almighty Allah. Al-Hasan al-Basri tells us that every morning, the day speaks to us. He says, Ya ibn Adam, ana khalqun jadid, wa ala amalika shaheed, faghtanimni fa inni la a'udu ila yawm al-qiyamah. He says, every morning, this Monday morning spoke to all of us. Ana khalqun jadid, I am a new creation. Today, Monday, 1st Ramadan, 11th March, is different from last week Monday. They are two different creations. And the next Monday that is going to come is a different creation. The Mondays that we have, we say Monday, Monday, Monday. It only helps us to count time. But then this Monday is different. And he says, وَعَلَىٰ عَمَلِكَ شَهِيدٌ. I'm also a witness on your deeds. Whatever deeds you're having today, this day has its own folder. It's recording everything that we're doing. And then the day will tell you, فَغْتَنِمْنِي. Make sure you profit from me. Make sure you benefit from me. فَإِنِّي لَا أَعُودُ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. When the sun sets, I'm never going to come back again. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud says, ما ندمت على شيء كندمي على يوم غربت فيه شمسه قل فيه أجلي ولم يزد فيه عملي. He said, I have never regretted, I have never felt bad on anything like my regret for a day that the sun will set on that day. My lifespan has been reduced, but my good deeds have not increased. He said, I have never felt bad on a day where the sun sets on that day. My lifespan has been reduced, but then my good deeds have not increased. This is the life that we're living now. Our dunya today is a fleeting experience. If we do not make use of the time, Hamza, if you look at your face 20 years ago, you didn't have this gray hair. But you have it now. It means time is moving. And every day our feet are getting closer to our graves. Ya ibn Adam, أنت الذي ولدتك أمك باكيا والناس حولك يضحكون سرورا فاعمد إلى عمل إذا بكوا في يوم موتك أنت ضاحكا مسرورا. You are the one that your mother gave birth to you. The day you were born, you were crying. But all of us around you were happy and laughing. True of us. Yes. The day you were born at the hospital or wherever, you are crying, yeah, yeah, and the nurses are happy. They are clapping their hands. Your mother is smiling. Your dad is somewhere happy. We're all happy, but you are crying. We're all happy, but you are crying. And then the Sheikh said, then try. The day you die, you are happy and then we are sad. You've come to the dunya, you are crying and then we are happy. Make sure that the day you die, you are happy and we are crying. But then if you come to this dunya and play this double jeopardy loss, where you are coming to the dunya crying, and then the day you are living, you are crying and people are happy, then that's a problem. And all this boils down on how well we use our time. That's what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is telling us. Time is so very, very important that the Almighty Allah, I think in Surah Al-Fajr, the Almighty Allah speaks, Wal-Fajr.
Wal-Fajr.
Naam.
Walayalin Ashr.
Naam.
Wal-Shaf'i wal-Watr.
Naam.
Wal-Layli idha yasr.
Naam.
هل في ذلك قسم الذي حجر.
Let's go to Surah Al-Muddathir. Kalla wal-Qamar.
كلا والقمر والليل إذ أدبر والصبح إذا أسفر إن وإنها لإحدى الكبر
نعم
نذيرا للبشر
نعم
لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر
كل نفس
كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة إلا أصحاب اليمين.
In another surah, the Almighty Allah says, وَالشَّمْسِ
والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها
نعم
والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طهاها.
حسبك. These verses all tell us the importance of time. And the Almighty Allah didn't forget to make this very explicit for us in the Quran. So it's important that we pay attention to time. Abdullah ibn Abbas narrates a hadith for us that can be found in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ni'matani maghbunun fihima kathirun minan nas, as-sihhatu wal faragh." That there are two ni'mah, two bounties, two mercies from the Almighty Allah. Maghbunun fihima kathirun minan nas. A lot of people are negligent about them. A lot of people are at a loss about them. Two ni'mah, two mercies from the Almighty Allah. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as-sihha, health. Health. You see, these are some of the ni'mah that a lot of us forget about. I have a lecture on the silent mercies of the Almighty Allah. The Almighty Allah has given us some silent mercies, some silent ni'mah. A lot of us do not ponder upon. The fact that we are Muslims itself is a ni'mah from the Almighty Allah. We didn't choose. Some of us, I always say this, some of us are Muslims because our parents are Muslims. Yes. Some of us are Muslims because we were born in Muslim families. But some people, they had to strive and search and read, and then they get to a juncture whereby, is it true? Is it false? They accept Islam, they're kicked out of their homes, they're kicked out of their families, they lose a lot of stuff, but they say, no, we are Muslims. It's a ni'mah from the Almighty Allah. You know very well that we have people with PhDs who have not found the light of Islam. And some of us don't even have high school certificates, and then we have Islam. So it's a ni'mah from the Almighty Allah. So the Prophet Muhammad said, as-sihha, health. Wallahi, some time ago, I think last year, I had to go to the emergency. It wasn't something serious, but I had to go to the emergency. So I got to there, and then they said, what are you here? I said, I have seen this and this and that. I said, okay, no problem. So I was signing in, and then they gave me a place to sit. And also my phone, just doing my stuff. Wallahi, they brought a man on a bed. And the gadgets that were around him, wallahi, I could count about 6 to 7 different gadgets. And the doctors that were with him, about 4 of them. The nurses, it was like a whole crowd moving with one person. He was lying on the bed, whether he was alive or dead. It's only the Almighty Allah. Wallahi, when I saw that incident, I didn't know when I fell down to do sujood, shukran lillah, thanking the Almighty Allah. As-sihha, health. Some people, because of health complications, the doctors have to put tubes through their noses to go through their throats into their bellies before they can eat. That's how they eat. Some people are on life support. Some people are on insulin every hour. Some people are on different medications. If they don't take that medication, they're going to die. But look at you and I. Yes, we might have our illnesses, but alhamdulillah, we are in the masjid. This is a ni'mah from the Almighty Allah. It's a ni'mah that we need to thank the Almighty Allah. Someone said, I've not been in the hospital for the past 20 years. You've not been to the hospital for the past 20 years. It's true. It's a ni'mah from the Almighty Allah. As-sihha, health. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, wal farag, time, leisure, having time itself is a ni'mah from the Almighty Allah. It's a blessing from the Almighty Allah. If you observe the Ummah today, why are we at the back of the caravan? And brothers, let's be honest. The Muslim Ummah today is not where it's supposed to be. We don't need to behave like ostriches, put our heads in the sand, and they're pretending that we are hiding when the rest of the body is outside there. And that's how the Ummah is behaving today. In science and technology, we are nowhere to be found. In setting the pace for the civilization of the world, we are nowhere to be found. When previously, we were the custodians of civilizations and science and technology. We ruled the known world. From the mountains of Siberia in the north to the Indian Ocean in the south. From the mountains of Mongolia in the east to the doors of Paris in the west. Spain and Portugal, Andalusia were under Muslim rule for 700 years. Cities called Cordoba were Qurtuba, where we had scholars like Imam al-Qurtubi. We gave the Westerners soap. They didn't know what soap was to bath. We created that. At the time whereby the streets of Cordoba and Granada were having street lights, the streets of Paris were dark. That was us. We did that. But today, where are we? Where are we today? And these are facts that the Muslim Ummah have to wake up to. We don't need to hide and say, no, we are Muslims, they are kuffar. Yes, it is true. We are Muslims, they are kuffar, but then we are not living to our potential as Muslims that the Almighty Allah has created us to be. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس.
كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر.
حسبك. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. The Almighty Allah say, you Muslims, you are the best of nations. أخرجت للناس. You were created purposely to save mankind. What kind of saving are we giving to mankind today? This is our reality. And part of getting the medicine is understanding and accepting that we are sick. Because if you don't accept that you are sick, you're not going to take the medication. So the Muslim Ummah must wake up to the reality that the Almighty Allah has espoused in the Quran for us. The importance of time and time management. The importance of being productive. The importance of being beneficial. The importance of being successful in the deen. But then again, some Muslims think that Islam is only about being in the masjid. Allahu Akbar. That's what some of us think Islam is. But then again, being that expert medical doctor, we need that. Being that engineer, we need that. Being that police officer, we need that. We need to have our medical doctors, huffaz of the Quran. On the Fridays, they mount the mimbar with their stethoscopes and then give us khutbah. We need to have that. The knowledge of the deen is not only the prerogative of a few of us. The knowledge of the deen is for all of us. So all of us cannot be shuyukh on the mimbar every Friday, but all of us can be shuyukh on our specific manabir, in our specific fields, all of us representing the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this will all boil down to how well we use our time. I say this. The position that we are in today as Muslims in America, and this is very, very controversial, and you know me, sometimes I throw controversial statements out there. We don't need our kids to be ballers. We don't need our kids to be b-ball players. We don't need our kids to be in NFL. We don't need that. We need our kids to be doctors and engineers because these are the ones that shape the policy of America. Not the basketball players. With all due respect to them. And not the NFL players and not the baseball players. My travels across America, I go to a masjid, I meet the youth and I ask them, what do you want to be in the future? B-ball player. What do you want to be in the future? Baseball player. What do you want to be in the future? Football player. What do you want to be in the future? Soccer player. None of you want to be doctors. None of you want to be engineers. None of you want to be not to be in the STEM fields. We've put this at the back of their minds that they need to make money. They need to make money. They need to make money. And the shortest way to make money is enter into sports, be athletes. I'm not saying being into the sports and being an athlete is haram. But then the situation that we are in now as Muslims, we need our kids to be more focused on being a part and parcel of the policy making in this country. We need to be at the table as discussants and not the topic of discussion. We need to be at the table as the ones doing the discussion, not on the table to be discussed. And this will all boil down to how well we use our time. What are some of the obstacles that prevent us from maximizing our times? And brothers, not to take you far, we are still on Wal Asr. We've not gone to the next verse yet. Because I told you, Imam Shafi'i said, if the Almighty Allah hasn't revealed anything except this surah alone, it is enough for us to live our lives. The number one obstacle that we've all placed on ourselves against utilizing our time is al-hawa, our desires. Why will someone spend 3 hours watching a game? It all goes to us. Some of us will sit and watch a soccer match for 2 hours. But then when we come to Taraweeh for an hour and a half, you hear us moaning and groaning. The Imam is reading too long. But then we spend 2 hours watching soccer. Last month it was the African Cup of Nations. And some of us watch every match. 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. I quite remember there was a game. And it was time for Maghrib. And the Imam was leading the Salah. And there was goal. They've scored a goal. And the Imam was in the masjid. He was leading the Salah. He was like looking left and right to see what's going on. And it happens. It's reality. Our desires. We put our desires in front of us. Why will people go to concerts and spend 6 hours in concerts? Why will people have time to buy tickets to the movies? You know, the latest movies that are coming in 2024. I need to go and watch them. Why will people want to spend hours on ending on Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, and all those stuff? Is our his desires. And some people spend 6 hours in the laboratories. And some people spend 8 hours in the laboratories. And some people spend 10 hours in the libraries. And you spend 6 hours watching a movie. You think you have the same end results as them? No. You can't plant mangoes and then you want to reap oranges. It doesn't work that way. And that is what the Muslim Ummah must understand. These non-Muslims are following the natural laws that the Almighty Allah has established. That is why they are progressing in the side of the dunya. And we have refused to what? To plant in the natural way that the Almighty Allah wants us to plant. If you want, this our member, come and put an orange seed here. Put it there and leave it. And every day pour water on it. Say, you are watering it and see what I do germinate. It's not going to germinate because this is carpet. And seeds do not germinate in carpets, in woolen carpets. Someone will say, but Sheikh, it's the masjid. We are reading the Quran here all the time. You think the Quran is going to let the seed germinate? That is the thinking of some Muslims today. Go out there in the fields and sow those seeds and then pour water onto it and see if it does not germinate bi-idhnillah. This is what the Muslim must understand. Let's take our hawa, our illusions, our desires from our heart, and then let's focus on what the Almighty Allah wants us. That's why the Almighty Allah tells us in Surah As-Sad, speaking to Dawood, Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka.
يا داود إنا جعلناك خليفة في الأرض فاحكم بين الناس بالحق
نعم
فاحكم بين الناس بالحق ولا تتبع الهوى فيضلك عن سبيل الله إن الذين يذلون يوم الحساب.
My main point in this verse is وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَى. Dawood, do not follow your heart desires. The Almighty Allah is speaking to Nabi Illah Dawood, a prophet of the Almighty Allah. And the Almighty Allah is telling him, do not follow your heart desires. And the majority of the problems that we have today is because we follow our heart desires. We put reasoning aside and then we follow our heart desires. We feel I can do it, so what? Let me do it. And this has caused a lot of people a lot of headaches. Part of the problems that we have is that some of us think I'm independent, so I can do whatever I want to do. That is a very, very dangerous thinking. I'm independent, I can do whatever I want to do. No, you are not independent. You owe the community a responsibility to be a responsible member of the community. This unfettered liberty that we have, this is what is causing a lot of problems. That people can do whatever they want to do. No. You must do what is right. You see, sometimes you listen to these motivational speakers and then some of their thoughts is not Islamic. You are free to do whatever you want to do. No. We Muslims are not free to do whatever we want to do. We are free to do whatever the Almighty Allah wants us to do. Two different things, two different statements. We are free to do what the Almighty Allah wants us to do. We have the responsibility to be responsible members of the community. We have a responsibility to make sure that we are raising our kids right. We have the responsibility around our necks that our kids, people will feel safe around them. It's our responsibility. So this notion that I'm a free person, I'm an independent person, I can do whatever I want to do, leave me alone. We live in the 21st century. This is a global village. There's technology. I can choose to do whatever I want to do. If I feel I'm a woman, I'm a woman. If I feel I'm a man, I'm a man. If I feel I'm a dog, I'm a dog. This is this thought process that has brought us this far. That is why someone will just pull out a gun and shoot someone because of $10. Because he feels he's independent, he can do whatever he wants to do. The heart is dead. The heart is dead. So he doesn't care. Stab you, do whatever they want to do. You're driving. You get to a traffic light, it is red, you've stopped. And someone comes and then he veers and then he goes, he drives past. He goes, that's it. Hawa. Heart desires. And then bang, accident. Why? Because you didn't follow the rules that were set. May Almighty Allah safeguard us. Another point, tulul amal. Some of us, we have false hopes. How do I explain this to us so that we understand? The false hope is that people will sit down and expect manna and salwa to come from heaven. They will sit down and expect the Almighty Allah to send money from the skies for them because they are believers. They believe in the Almighty Allah. So they won't work. They won't go and get a job. Even if they get a job, they don't go on time. And they use time of the job to be on the phone, speaking about unnecessary things. And they expect the Almighty Allah to put barakah into it. It's not going to happen, my brothers and sisters. Let's understand this. You can't eat your cake and have it. You can't sleep and expect the Almighty Allah to provide for you. So long as you are alive, He is going to give you money to buy chicken and French fries so that you don't die of hunger. But the money to buy your own home, money to buy your own car, money to go to Hajj, money to help the poor, you won't get that. Because you refuse to go through what? The processes that the Almighty Allah has put in place. My father has this story about the guy who begs, he solicits. If you go to Africa where we are from, there we have a lot of people who go from house to house, soliciting your food that I can eat and stuff like that. So this guy, there's something we call masa. He's laughing. Is rice, some rice pudding, but then they fry, deep fried. So it has a lot of oil, grease in it. So this guy, what he does is when he goes and then he begs, he gets that food, he squeezes all the oil he can from it into a bottle because he wants to sell the oil. So he does that, he's been doing that, and then after some time he realizes that it's almost full. And then he says, you see, when the oil, he's talking to himself. See, when the bottle is full now, I go to the market and then I sell it. When I sell it, the money that I'll get, I'll go and buy a goat. When I buy the goat, a she-goat, there are a lot of goats in the neighborhood. Possibly one of the billy goats will get her pregnant. And when she gets pregnant, she's going to give birth. At least she can give birth to 3 or 4 billy goats. And then after some time, I'll sell that. Then I'll go and buy a cow. There are cows in the neighborhood, so one bull can impregnate her. And then after we get a lot of cows, I sell about 2 or 3, and then I'll go and get married. And then inshallah, after I get married, my wife is going to get pregnant, and then she's going to give birth to a boy. And then I'll name him Muhammad. And then when Muhammad grows, because me, I've not been to madrasa, I don't know the Quran, I'll make sure Muhammad will memorize the Quran. But if one day Muhammad's teacher tells me that Muhammad is not serious about his Quran, the way I'll flog Muhammad. In flogging Muhammad, he broke the bottle. In flogging Muhammad, he broke the bottle and the oil got spilled. So there's no oil to sell, to get a goat, to get a cow, to get married, to give birth, to get Muhammad to school and even beat Muhammad. It's a funny story. But some of us subconsciously are living like that. Giving ourselves false hopes. Instead of getting up to strive. Instead of getting up to read at night. Students, instead of burning the midnight candle. See, I have an iPad in front of me with some of the tafsir, and I have papers here that I've taken notes. Because whatever you're doing, you need to immerse yourself into it. You need to put yourself into it. You need to put your time and your energy into it. I said I'm going to do the tafsir. The management didn't force me to say do the tafsir. I said I want to do it. So if you're going to do it, you need to put in your effort into it. You need to put yourself into it. You need to read the books. I have, this only wal asr, I have looked at 4 to 5 different tafsir. Just on only this verse. And it's not because I want to present something to you so that you say, oh, this guy is good, he's non-eligible. No. It's for myself. This tafsir I'm doing, it is to improve myself first, before giving out whatever information I have to give out. So it's important we take away false hopes. And let's let, especially the young ones that are coming, let's let them understand the reality of this dunya. That things do not come easy. Things do not come easy. It's not on a silver platter. Let the kids know how tough it is for you to go out in the cold of the winter to make money to pay the bills. Let them understand that. Let them understand how tough is it for you to make sure they have refrigerator full with food. That they don't just get up and then open the refrigerator at 1 a.m. and then they just put food in the microwave, they heat it up, they eat, and then they go and sleep without knowing what happened. Let them understand that. Parenting this time is not easy. When we are growing up, still we are kids. Still. But then, lower than this, your dad looks at you like this and then you understand the message. Straightforward. He just looks at you and then you understand the message. Today, the kids, you look at him, it's like, Daddy, why are you looking at me like that? And then he goes to tell his mother, Mommy, Daddy is looking at me in a way I don't understand why he's looking at me like that. Al-ilmu fi as-sighar kan-naqsh fi al-hajar. Knowledge in youthful ages is like a carving in stone. If you do not raise your kids right, they won't come out right. Excuse me. If your kids do not respect authority in the house, they won't respect authority outside. You don't mess up your kids and expect the schools to rectify your kids. Kids come here, madrasa, and I tell the parents, listen, this is a partnership between you and us. The kids are here 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, 8 hours a week. The rest of 148 hours, they are with you in the house. If you cannot rectify them in 148 hours, you think we can do that in 8 hours? No. We can't. Some of the kids, they come here, you give them 1 page a week. Next week, they come with 2 pages. They've memorized it. Some of the kids, they are on 1 surah for 40 years. 1 surah, 40 years. And the kid is only 12, but he's on 1 surah for the past 40 years. Why? Because some of you parents do not care. I'm sorry. I'm being blunt. Some of you parents do not care. You are interested in the dollar. You are only interested in the dollar. But then for the nurturing of the kid, how do your kids use their time? You don't care. You don't know. Some of us fathers, because of the engagement we have, yes, I'm not trying to give you an excuse, but I'm trying to feel for you that yes, paying the bills, use this, yes, but still at the end of the day, you need to make time for the kids. Sheikh Masri is here. He's one of our teachers here in the madrasa. He has 3 daughters who are here to learn, or 2 daughters. 3 daughters. He brings them to the madrasa every Saturday and Sunday. He is also a teacher here. And his kids are excelling. I'm not saying it because he's here to flatter him, but I'm giving you an example with us here. Ummah, the Amir of the community, his kids are memorizing the Quran. His 14-year-old kid, Mukasha, has memorized the whole Quran. Bilal is in which surah actually?
Surah Al-Taha.
Surah Al-Taha.
Like
Bilal is
more than half of
the Quran. He's also about 12. Hafsa is about Surah Al-Ahzab.
Yeah, like 13.
Yes. Maryam is at Ankabut.
Half of the Quran.
So, and they were all born here. So if you tell me that this is America, I can't raise you are lying, excuse me. You chose not to let your kids memorize the Quran. You chose. You decided. There are a lot of kids like that. There's this boy, Ahmed Gurfa. If he opens his mouth to recite the Quran, you can put him in the Haram al-Makki and then he will still lead prayers. 13-year-old boy here. Why? Because his father told us, I want my kids to memorize the Quran. And the father is putting in the effort for the kid to memorize the Quran. There is one boy in your class, Mubarak. Mubarak, if you dictate to him Arabic, he writes everything exactly. Dad, Dal, Sheen, Sad. He will write it exactly for you, and then he even give you the shakl, Fatha, Kasra, Dhamma, Sukun.
With good handwriting.
With good handwriting, he's here. There's another girl, Khadija, same girl, maybe 12 or 13. You read to her anything in the Arabic language, even if she doesn't know the meaning, she will write it. And her father is telling me, Sheikh, I want my daughter to learn. In my room, we don't watch television. There's no TV. The kids have time on the computer, yes. But then the time is for them to learn, for them to read. We make sure they're using their time. And sometimes I visit some of these parents in their homes, and then you have a board in their room, in their homes, in their living rooms, timetable for their family. Timetable, Quran memorization, Islamic studies, schoolwork, family time. They've structured it in a way so they're going to see the end results. But then those of us who, I got bills to pay, I need to leave the kids money, I need to ride a luxurious car, I need to get the latest iPhones, I need to get this, I need to get this. You're going to get it. But what about the kids? Anytime I'm speaking about upbringing of kids, there's one hadith that strikes fear in me. إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث. When we die, all of our good deeds are cut off except 3 things. And amongst those three things, the Prophet Muhammad said, "Awaladin salih yad'u la," or you leave behind a pious child who remembers you and then prays for you. The way we are nurturing these kids, are we sure when we die they will remember us and pray for us?
No.
Hey, the way you are answering no is too hard. But the way we are nurturing these kids, are we sure when we die they will remember us and pray for us? This is a question all of us must ask ourselves.
Very sad.
Listen, you've even nurtured your kids the right way, and some of them even end up bad. How much more you didn't even nurture them? You've put in all the effort, but then some of them did not turn out right. And how much more you've been negligent? Tulul amal. False hopes. False hopes. Another thing that prevents us from maximizing our time is we're being picky and selective. Especially when it comes to jobs. And now I can't do this. This is not for me. And you don't have any job too. And you have bills to pay. And then you spend your time picky, being picky. And sometimes this also happens to the woman. She's 19, 20, get married, and no. When someone comes and I'm interested in you, he's too tall. He's too tall. Another person comes, he's too short. He's too short. Another person comes, he's too fat. Another person comes, he's too slim.
Doesn't have money.
Another person comes, no, he doesn't have enough money. By the time she realizes she's 45, she's crossed the threshold. Now she comes to the masjid, Wallahi, Sheikh, Imam, if there's any brother who is interested, yeah, I'm ready. You are ready now. Alan. Alan. At a time where you were at the peak, where when you get married, you settle down, you have your kids, you refused. Because you felt you have a standard. And no man in Philadelphia meets your standard. Or you have other priorities. No, I want to have my own home. I want to have about 150,000 in my account. That's how they talk. I want to have 150,000 in my account, and I want to get a degree, a master's degree, and then I want to start a career. And then I can get a man who can take care of me. If he can't take care of me, by the time you realize 50, you're gone. You become a grandmother. You become a grandmother. Picky. And some brothers too, same. There's a job. No, I don't know. My hands, I can't. My hands. And you don't have money to eat. Go get the job. Listen, people must understand one thing. You can't have it overnight. You need to go through some hoops. You need to flip through some hoops. Our fathers that are here that have made it, ask them. How did they get to where they are today? Ask them. How did they make it in life? Ask them. The young ones that we are here, that we think life is all rosy, cool. You see the old men riding their luxurious cars. You're like, no, I need to get... You know what happened to him? What he went through? The bones he had to break? The sleepless nights he had to go through before he got that? Ask them. Knowledge cannot always be found in books. It is found by sitting next to these old men. One word to you, you understand everything clear. So go through that and ask the old men. There's this African proverb that says, what the old man sees while sitting in his lazy chair, the young man cannot see even if he climbs the tall Iroko tree. And it's a fact. Some of us young men, we're quick. Shortcut. We want a shortcut. Listen, there is no elevator to success. You need to go through the stairs. If you want to be successful, there is no elevator to success where you just enter into it and then you press 5th floor and then it takes you 3. There's nothing like that in life. If you want to be successful, you need to go through the stairs. Krum, 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 krum. That is what success is. But then if you think you want to go through the elevator, no, I need to have $1 million. And then You don't have a job? No, forget about it. The Almighty Allah won't kill you. He will give you food that you're going to eat to fatten you. But as for you to make money, no. You're not going to get any money. And then I have a lot of points here, but I don't want to take much of our time because I want us to have ample time before iftar. People will have to go get the iftar stuff and that. So I don't want to take much of our time. But one last point before we call it a day is that how do we maximize our time? We're on Wal Asr. How do we maximize our times? Number one, have a clear agenda as to what you want. Be very clear about it. I want to memorize the Quran in the next 5 years. I want to memorize the Quran in the next 10 years. Don't be ambiguous about it. I want to earn a degree in the next 5 years. I want to do this. I want to be very clear about it. That's one. Number two, put pen and paper to it. Don't just leave it hanging in your head or in your mind. Put pen and paper to it. This is what I want to do. That's one. Then ask yourself, where am I now? In everything, ask yourself, where are you now? Psychologically, emotionally, financially, socially. Give yourself an assessment of where you are now. In terms of education, okay, I want to memorize the Quran. But then my challenge is that I cannot identify the alphabets to read, meaning this is where you must start. If you jump straight forward to memorizing the Quran, you will fail. Because when we give you the Quran to open to read, you can't read. So you need to go and start with the basis of what? Of learning the alphabets of the Quran. So where are you now? Where are you coming from? Where are you from? It's very, very important you understand where you are coming from. Because your past will always help you in shaping your future. Because whatever happens to you in the past is an opportunity for you to learn so that you don't repeat those mistakes that you did in the past. So when you know where you are coming from, when you have a catalog of your life for the past 10, 15, 20 years, it helps you to go through life because I've gone through this, I've done this, it didn't work. There's no need for me to repeat it. Now give yourself a timetable. Because you have a plethora of things to do. Maybe you have a job, maybe you have a family to take care of. Give yourself what? A timetable as to how you're going to do it. But the most important thing in this is being focused and determined. It's very, very important. A lot of people break halfway because the determination and the focus was not there. Because the goal for them is not worth it. Because they didn't put pen and paper to it. Because they didn't have it at the back of their minds that I want to do it. Next point. Try as much as possible to see who are the people you spend your time with. Because if you spend time with people that only speak about sports, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you people are not pundits on Fox News or CNN, you're not pundits, you're not analysts, but then you spend 4 or 5 hours speaking about the NFL and how much money these guys are making and the latest shoes that LeBron James is wearing, and then when Kobe Bryant was doing this and that, and then even soccer, London Donovan when he was doing this, and then Clint Dempsey speaking about this, Michael Jackson and all, spending all this time. Sit down with a pen and paper and say, okay, Muhammad speaks to me about the Quran. Okay, you take him. This guy speaks to me about this. No, take him. Go and do a deletion of the friends that do not give you productive information, that do not help you improve, whether in the deen or the dunya. Go and have a list of the people that you interact with. There are some people, they are energy drainers. They drain your energy. There are some people, they are time wasters. They waste your time. Kick them out. Raise the rent and kick them out. Because listen, it's 1 to a pit theory. You live alone, you die alone, you'll be buried alone. Some people are afraid to die alone. Listen, you will die alone. No, he's my friend and I can't live without him. When you die, you will run away and leave you. When you die, when we go to bury you, people are crying. Oh. And the moment we put you into the grave, they say Salaam Alaikum. They don't join you there. Make an inventory of your friends, of the people that you interact with. And see those ones who are productive in your life and those who are draining your energy and then your time. Raise the rent and kick them out. The next point. Have for yourself a library. Have for yourself a library. When you have that library, make sure you visit the library at least once a day, where you read for only 10 minutes a day. Read. If reading is difficult for you, get e-books and listen to them. Or get the lectures and listen to them. Or go to YouTube and look for the lectures, the Tafseer, the programs that the shuyukh are doing, and listen to them. This will help you maximize your time. And finally, cut out the usage of this thing. This phone. Cut out the usage of the phone. You know, sometimes they give you alerts. Oh, this week you had more screen time, 15% more than last week. You think they're helping you. They are not helping you. It's a marketing strategy. They are just getting the data of how much you use your phone so that they can push to you the ads and the AI information and stuff like that. This thing is a double-edged sword. It can make you productive, and it can make you unproductive. Use it wisely. Because this is an opportunity that Almighty Allah has given us. But then use it wisely. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We'll take some questions. If not, we call it a day and then we meet tomorrow again, inshallah.